Welcome back to Money Matrimony, the podcast where we talk love, money, and everything in between. I'm your host, Samurai, and whether you're boot up, flying solo, or somewhere in between, we're here to help you build a better relationship with your money. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at your bank account and thought, where did it all go? Or maybe you're swiping that credit card like it's a magic wand. Poof, debt appears. You're not alone. Today, we're diving into psychology of money, long-term investing, and many more thing-related personal finance. You know the ones. Impulsive spending, ignoring your budget, living paycheck to paycheck even when you don't have to. In this episode, we'll explore psychology of money that is something we'll never tell any finance expert. So grab your coffee, your notebook, or just keep us playing while you're on that Target run you maybe didn't plan for. And let's talk about breaking those bad money habits once and for all. Before starting, I want to request you please like and subscribe the channel and share the video who need it. So, let go.
You know that feeling? When you're trying to do all the right financial things, cutting back here, paying down debt there, but it still feels like you're just, I don't know, treading water, not really getting ahead.
Oh, definitely. That's super common. And it kind of hints that, well, the basics are important, sure, but there's maybe more going on underneath.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to dig into today. You found a couple of really interesting videos from the Chris Invests YouTube channel, right, too?
Yeah, one's called Life-Changing Money Tips Most People Don't Think of, and the other really gets into the mental game of money, why people never get ahead.
Okay, so not your typical save more pennies advice then.
Not really, no.
Yeah.
They challenge some common ideas and look at the sort of foundational principles and maybe even the psychology behind why we do what we do with money, things that could actually, change the game.
Right. So the plan for this deep dive, basically, is to pull out those nuggets for everyone listening. The stuff that's maybe less obvious but could have a real impact.
Exactly. Going beyond just spend less than you earn.
Yeah, trying to understand what actually leads to, long-term financial freedom, maybe feeling a bit more satisfied with things, and, just solid stability.
And also figuring out those mental roadblocks that might be tripping us up without us even noticing.
Okay, let's jump in. The first idea that popped out was, maybe surprisingly, not always chasing the job with the highest salary.
It sounds a bit counterintuitive, doesn't it? More money usually feels like the goal.
Right, but the video made a really good case looking at it from a longer-term view.
Well, yeah. Think about how much of our lives we actually spend at work. The source really emphasized this.
A huge chunk.
Exactly. And if that time is, draining, or you don't connect with people, or it feels pointless,
Yeah.
or maybe the work-life balance is just terrible.
Then that big salary might not feel so great after a while.
Precisely. It becomes sort of a golden handcuff situation. You feel stuck because the money's good, but you're not actually, happy.
So you're trading time and maybe your well-being for just a number. The video's point seems to be that real success needs that mix, decent pay, yeah, but also work that feels, fulfilling.
Yeah, fulfillment, good relationships, maybe feeling like you're making some kind of impact. The core idea here is your job shouldn't just pay the bills. It should ideally add something positive to your life. Maybe prioritize purpose alongside the paycheck.
That makes sense. Sacrificing stuff that really matters to you just for a bit more cash could actually leave you feeling kind of stuck, even if your bank account looks okay.
That dissatisfaction can really linger.
Okay, so shifting to something more concrete, strategy-wise, this one was particularly aimed at couples, two-income households. The idea of living on just one income.
Ah, yes. The source called that a potential game changer.
It sounds intense, but powerful.
It really can be.
Yeah.
You think about that idea of security we mentioned. Well, living on one income immediately builds a massive buffer.
Right. If one person loses their job, it's not instant panic mode.
Exactly. It gives you breathing room, flexibility,
Yeah.
huge peace of mind.
And the video talked about the ripple effects, too. You could suddenly save and invest way more aggressively.
Oh, absolutely. Or hammer down debt much faster, maybe save for a down payment on a house, or even think about retiring earlier. It puts you much more in control.
Yeah, you're driving the bus, not just reacting.
And remember that example they used, a couple, each earning $50 K. If they can manage their lifestyle, cover everything on just one of those $50,000 salaries.
Then the other entire $50,000 is freed up. Wow.
It becomes this engine for building wealth. And interestingly, it also helps fight that lifestyle inflation problem.
Because your spending stays anchored to that one income level.
Right. You're not automatically spending more just because more is coming in. So the insight is something like living on one income isn't about being deprived. It's a strategic move to build serious financial security and unlock future options faster.
That's a great way to put it. You're making a conscious choice with that second income. Okay, let's pivot again. This next one feels really relevant today, with social media and everything. Humility. And spending based on your own values, not trying to impress people.
The keeping up with the Joneses trap. It's easy to fall into.
Totally. The video argued that, well, real success isn't about having the flashiest car or the biggest house.
Right, and getting stuck on that treadmill, always needing the next status symbol. It can just burn you out.
And you're not even necessarily happier, right? You're just working to maintain an image.
Exactly, often at the cost of your actual financial health and, genuine contentment. So the core message is kind of stop chasing status. Figure out what you actually value and spend on that. It saves money and brings more real satisfaction.
It shifts the focus inward instead of always looking at what others have or think.
You get more bang for your buck, emotionally speaking and financially.
Okay, but then there's a flip side, isn't there? The video also warned about being too cheap.
Yeah, that's the other extreme, getting so focused on saving every penny that you forget to actually, live your life.
Right, missing out on experiences now because you're only thinking about the future.
It's a balance, for sure. The source was clear. Money is partly a tool to enjoy life. Things like travel, making memories with family and friends, pursuing hobbies.
Those things have real value, too. You can't put them off forever.
Exactly. So you need to find that sweet spot between saving responsibly for tomorrow and actually, savoring today. And what savoring today means is different for everyone.
Yeah, could be travel for one person, fancy dinners for another, maybe even that car, if it truly brings you joy.
Right. Financial security without any actual fulfillment feels incomplete. So the takeaway is maybe. Save smart, yes. But don't forget to use some money to live a life you actually enjoy now. Find your personal balance.
It's about making conscious choices about those trade-offs.
What truly brings you happiness?
And this ties nicely into the next point, I think. Lowering financial stress. Because worrying about money all the time, that takes a serious toll.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge source of anxiety for so many people.
Yeah.
Reducing that stress can impact, everything. Your health, your relationships.
Your overall quality of life. And the video pointed out that financial comfort isn't some universal number. It's personal.
Very personal. What makes me feel secure might be different for you. For some, it's having a huge emergency fund.
Right. Or maybe it's investing really conservatively low-risk stuff.
Or maybe it's aggressively paying off all debt, even low-interest debt, just for that feeling of freedom.
Yeah.
It's about figuring out what brings you peace of mind.
What does that look like for you listening right now, that sense of security?
And getting there, having that agency, it's empowering. The source even mentioned how much couples argue about money.
Oh, yeah. A major source of conflict.
So imagine reducing that tension. It helps everything, your patience, your connections. So the insight might be figure out what financial peace means to you specifically and make building that a priority.
Okay. And all this kind of leads to a bigger idea, which is redefining financial success itself. The video made a great point. Not everyone needs to be like a multimillionaire.
Right. Society sometimes pushes this idea that extreme wealth is the only definition of success.
Yeah, like that's the ultimate goal we should all be striving for.
But maybe it's not. The video reminds us that, security and fulfillment look different for everyone. For many people, it's just living comfortably.
Being able to do things you enjoy, take care of family, not have that constant money worry hanging over you.
Exactly. And honestly, chasing mega wealth can be exhausting. It might mean sacrificing other important things in life.
So it's about aligning your money goals with what you actually value.
Precisely. True happiness isn't just about the bank balance. It's about building a life that feels good and meaningful to you. So maybe the core idea is define your own financial success. Focus on security, freedom, and meaning, not just chasing the biggest possible number.
If huge wealth is your thing and it aligns, great. But it's okay if success looks different for you.
Absolutely. Maybe success is having the time to pursue a passion or being financially secure enough to handle emergencies. It's personal.
Okay, let's switch gears now to that second video, the one focused on the mental game of money. This gets into the psychology. It starts with our early experiences, how growing up around money issues can stick with us.
Yeah, this is fascinating. It suggests that those childhood experiences, especially around scarcity, can get deeply ingrained.
Like, even if your family wasn't actually poor, but there was always stress about bills.
Exactly. If money was always talked about as a source of anxiety, you can internalize this belief that financial struggle is just normal, inevitable almost. Witnessing parents stress, even if they had decent incomes, can leave a real mark.
It becomes your default expectation about money. And the video also talked about how early ideas about income potential based on grades or what you studied can create limits in our own minds.
Like you subconsciously decide, okay, people with my background earn about this much, and you don't really aim higher.
You sort of cap your own potential without realizing it.
Yeah. You might just expect life to involve constant financial juggling, thinking certain goals are just out of reach. So recognizing these old beliefs is key. The insight is basically your childhood money story shapes your current beliefs. Unpacking that story is the first step to changing it.
And that leads right into the next point. Lack of self-belief. How doubting yourself holds you back financially.
This is a big one. If you fundamentally don't believe you're capable of learning new skills, starting something new, negotiating a raise.
And you probably won't even try.
Right. You might stay stuck in jobs where you're underpaid or undervalued just because you lack that confidence to push for more. Becomes a cycle. So the message is, doubting yourself directly limits your earnings. Building self-belief is crucial for financial growth.
It really is like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you don't think you can, you won't. Then another major mental hurdle the video mentioned, fear of failure.
Oh yeah, this can be paralyzing. It stops people from taking, calculated risks.
Like starting a business or investing or even just switching careers.
Exactly. Things that could lead to much better financial outcomes. But the fear of messing up, losing money, or just looking foolish holds them back. Sometimes it even stops basic planning because they're scared of doing it wrong.
It's that perfectionism trap again, maybe.
Could be, and the video made a great point. Almost everyone who succeeds financially has failed along the way. They use that analogy of learning to ride a bike.
Right. You expect to fall off a few times. It's part of learning.
You don't just give up after the first wobble. You maybe put on knee pads, but you get back on. So the insight is, fear of failure blocks financial progress. See calculated risks and setbacks as learning, not the end of the world.
Easier said than done sometimes, but a really important shift in mindset.
Definitely. You can't let fear keep you stuck.
Okay, another challenge, especially today. Instant gratification. That desire for immediate pleasure versus long-term planning.
Ah, the classic struggle. And it's harder than ever with everything available instantly. The video mentioned things like impulse buys online, always eating out, those super expensive vacations.
Things that feel good right now.
Exactly. But they can really sabotage your future goals, especially if they rack up debt. Learning to delay gratification, to prioritize future security over that immediate dopamine hit is, well, it's a key skill. The insight. Chasing instant pleasure can wreck your finances. Practice mindful spending and value delayed gratification.
And this often gets worse because of social comparison, right? And that lifestyle inflation thing.
They go hand in hand. You see your friends or people online with new cars or fancy trips, and you feel that pressure.
The pressure to keep up.
Yeah, even if it means stretching yourself thin financially. And then there's lifestyle inflation. You get a raise, and instead of saving more, your spending just expands to fill the new income.
Upgrading the car, bigger apartment, more subscriptions.
Exactly. So even though you're earning more, you're not actually getting ahead. You're still living paycheck to paycheck, just at a higher level. So the advice is, stop comparing yourself to others. Focus on your own path and watch out for that sneaky lifestyle inflation.
Be conscious about where that extra money goes when you get a raise.
Right. Make a plan for it.
And maybe underlying a lot of these issues, the video talked about a lack of basic financial literacy, just not knowing the fundamentals.
Yeah, this is a huge factor. A lot of people were never really taught this stuff. Not properly in school, maybe not at home either.
Money talk can be kind of taboo in families.
It often is. So if you don't understand budgeting or how investing works or the real cost of debt, it's really easy to make mistakes and get stuck in a bad cycle. So the core point is, financial illiteracy is a major hurdle. Make learning about personal finance an ongoing priority.
It's like trying to play a game without knowing the rules. You need that knowledge to make good moves.
Absolutely. Empower yourself with information.
And that lack of knowledge often leads to the final point from the video, the importance of actually having a financial plan and setting goals.
Yeah, without a roadmap, you're just kind of drifting, financially speaking. Money comes in, money goes out. but maybe not in a way that actually builds anything.
No real direction.
Right. The video emphasized setting SMART goals. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound.
Gives you something concrete to aim for.
Exactly. It provides focus. It helps you make better decisions day to day because you know what you're working towards. It motivates you to be disciplined. The insight is pretty clear. Without a plan, you get random results. Set clear financial goals to give your money direction and purpose.
Okay, wow. So wrapping this all up, we've covered a lot that goes beyond just save 10%, finding meaning in work,
That potential game changer of living on one income.
spending on your values, not just appearances, finding that balance between saving and actually living,
Reducing that awful financial stress, defining success your own way.
and then all those mental game aspects are early money stories, self-belief, fear of failure.
Resisting instant gratification, avoiding the comparison trap, the need for financial literacy, and finally, having a real plan.
It really feels like the overall message is taking control of your money isn't just about getting rich.
No, not at all. It's much broader.
It's about building a life that feels, secure, yeah, but also balanced and genuinely good, fulfilling.
Exactly. For you, for your family, now and in the future, understanding the practical steps in that mental side of things.
So a final thought maybe for everyone listening. Which one of these ideas, maybe one of the less common ones, really hit home for you today?
Which one felt like,
Yeah.
that's me?
And what's maybe one tiny thing, one small step you could think about doing starting today to lean into that insight? Could be just reflecting on what financial success truly means to you.
Or maybe noticing one of those limiting beliefs when it pops up, just becoming aware.
Yeah, lots to think about. Hopefully this deep dive gave you some fresh perspectives for your own financial journey.
If today's episode gave you a new perspective on your money journey, hit that subscribe button and join the Money Matrimony family. We're here every week, helping you map your money, master your mindset, and move from struggle